Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children, ladies, welcome to the episode of Tatami Talk. My name is Juan. This is my triple partner, Anthony. This is a judo podcast for judo players by two judo players. So, Anthony, episode 101.
Are you going to do this for every
No, just this one. Okay. Hey, dude, we broke over 100 episodes now, okay? Over 100.
And then you have to, how does it feel to break over 101 episodes?
Maybe. I might do that in 5 episodes, maybe. So, Anthony, how you doing today? You doing all right?
Well, you always ask this when you know the answer to the question.
But right? Our fans want to know how you're doing.
Yeah.
They're very captivated with your life.
I mean, I just started training again last week for the first time. After my rib injury, for those who forgot. I mean, we've been talking about it so often, but I haven't trained since December, basically, end of December. And there were a few times where I showed up to class and tried to train, and I just couldn't. So first things first, I went to BJJ class, and I'm like, let me go to fundamentals class and ramp back up to my intensity. And of course, I get paired up with this huge white belt, and he knees me in the face, pretty freaking hard. So that was my first training session. Then I got paired up with Will. For those who are in our dojo, they know what that means. But no, I started running. I was like starting conditioning because I wanted to do nationals. Mm-hmm. But I mean, as things would have it, like my rib was sore after, but it wasn't that bad. It would stay sore for like a day, and I can keep training. So it's still, I just need to watch the intensity. Mm-hmm. But then I wanted to go to Randori, our Saturday Randori session, and then my dad calls me and told me he wasn't feeling very well. So he told me to go pick him up and take him to the doctor, which is what I did. So I skipped Randori, take him to the doctor yesterday. And then I wake up this morning and I started having a painful throat, and I'm not feeling very well myself today either. So I guess someone in the universe really doesn't want me to train for nationals. So
we got some bad juju, man. Got a little voodoo to all of you out there.
We can get some feng shui plant or something in front of my house. But that's how it is.
Well, today I went to the Lord Taishi tournament. Coached two of our guys. What?
I was there.
Yeah, I know you were there. But I'm letting our fans know. So today I went to the Lord Taishi tournament. Here's a little funny thing that happened. Okay. So I was coaching 2 guys in the same division, same category. Okay. I had Will and I had Sukai. All right. Now, you'd be extremely crazy if they were both to get to the finals of some sort to fight each other. All right. Mm-hmm. Well, Sukai did not listen and did not show up to the tournament on time. So he was late. So he missed his first match. So he got put in a repechage. Will lost his first match. So he got put in a repechage. So guess what happened? Who fought for bronze place? My 2 guys. So I coached them to their next few wins. And then it came to their finals. It's like, oh, look, Sukai, if you win, you get bronze. Will, if you win, you get bronze. Either of you win, I get bronze as a coach. So I just let them go at it, and everybody was like, why aren't you coaching your guys? Like, because it's both my guys. I can't say which one's my favorite, you know?
That's the etiquette.
I love all my students equally.
That's the etiquette, is that you're not supposed to coach, right? If it's 2 guys in the same dojo. But I mean, in the past, we've had one coach on each side. Like, I've seen that happen. So I would have stayed longer, but I wasn't feeling very well, so I just went home to sleep, and now I'm up to record the podcast.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So here's another update. So a few episodes ago, we did how USJF, I was going to say USJA for a second, USJF was doing an online course for the Nage No Kata. Now, we were both talking about doing it, and you actually did do it. So what's your experience taking an online course for kata to get your kata certification and certificate? Did they send you?
Yeah, I'll try to keep it short, but basically, because I don't want to go too detail about it. After we talked about it last time, I'm like, oh, right. I totally forgot about it. So I looked into it, and I'm like, well, I have like 30 minutes before I have to leave for teaching class, so might as well just do it. And long story short, remember how last episode we talked about how it's the execution that's the matters, what matters. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's just say it was poorly executed. It was exactly what I thought it would be. I wouldn't say exactly, but for the most part, it was right. They just uploaded the Kodokan video that I use to teach myself to Nage No Kata with you, and that everyone else uses, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They use that video, cut it up into parts, put it into little modules, and then basically had a quiz in each section. And the quiz's questions are like really, really stupid. Like,
so they didn't even have two USJF members or their kata people demonstrating. They just used the Kodokan. That's crazy.
Yeah, basically they used the Kodokan video, and then a lot of it was throwing terms around, like, oh, which is the technique that, which is the throw in the third part where they walk in like Ayumiyashi or something. So if you don't know what Ayumiyashi is, or Shizentai or that Jizentai, that kind of stuff, you're not going to do very well. And I feel like knowing the terms has like nothing to do with learning the kata. Yeah, so I think more than a third of, like, not content wise, but like knowledge wise, more than a third of the knowledge was basically you have to know the terms of judo. Luckily, I know them, so but a lot of it also seemed like trick questions. I wouldn't, let me say not a lot of it, but like I'll read you this question, right? I don't know if they reuse questions or whether they have a bank of questions that they pull from randomly. Does that make sense? So if I take the test once, I might get different answers in the different order.
It's like how the DNV has 4 different tests.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that. But I think this thing's built on WordPress, I'm pretty sure, and it's buggy as hell. Like, I already passed it twice. I took it twice, just so you know, and passed it twice, and I got a certificate twice. And I just logged in again to look for the answer I was thinking of, and I can't find it because I think they're pulling from different questions.
Okay.
And then I logged back in and it says like, oh, you're 72% completed through the course. I'm like, I already completed it twice. How is it 72%? But it was saying I didn't take the side sacrifice throw part, and I didn't do the certain parts of the final exam. So it's buggy as hell, right?
Okay.
But this question's like, after left side ukiwaza is finished and you have fixed your gi, uke and tori step back, and then four choices, right? So first choice, right, left, and have their heels together, toes apart, then they sit in seizen bow, stand back up and turn to showman performer standing bow. Step B, option 2, right, left, and have their heels together, toes apart, then they perform standing bow, turn towards show. So it's kind of like I had to read that thing multiple times because I'm like, okay, first of all, I need to read all 4 and figure out what the differences between all 4 sentences are because they look the same. Again, that's just bad question writing, right? So I had to like understand what the differences are, then visualize in my head what they're trying to ask, because I can actually know this. It's possible that I actually know, which I do. I know the answer to the question, but because I can't visualize what the hell they're writing, I don't know what they're asking. Basically, is what I'm saying. So that was another problem with the quiz. There's nothing about, well, I wouldn't say nothing. There was a few things about the form. Like they talk about the one common error in kata guruma is people grab the pants. So they tell you like, oh, should you grab the pants here, there, or there? But they have a short summary, basically pulled from the Nage No Kata textbook, and you read it. Then you take this short quiz. And then at the end, there's like a long final test. But overall, I mean, without going into detail, I think passing this test just makes you like know 10% of the Nage No Kata, basically. If I had to imagine myself going back to before I learned the kata, if I just took this route first, I think I would only learn 10% of what I learned compared to researching and doing the kata myself and having Philippe grade it, basically.
And you didn't have to like record it and submit it or something, record you doing any of the kata and submit that.
Which is fun. Right. This is the funny part, right?
Yeah.
So the reason why I had to do the final test twice, which also almost made me late for class, by the way, is because when the final certificate screen came up, like it says something awarded to blah blah, Nage No Kata certification award to and blank. I'm like, okay, where's my name? Like, why can't I fill in my name? So I went back and I'm like, there's no place to fill in my name, and the only place that they had it was a section where it's like, oh, this is where you upload your type your name, your USJF member ID number, your Shodan certificate, your heads up, safe sport, like that kind of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So I uploaded all of that, and then like next day I get an email. It's like, hi, like welcome to. I don't remember the exact phrasing, but it said, welcome to your. Thanks for applying for your USJF Master's Teaching Certification or something. And they're like, please send me a video of you. I'm the mentor assigned to you. Please send me a video of you teaching your class so that we can evaluate it. And I'm just like. Mm-hmm. I just sent a nicely worded email saying I didn't apply for this. I just like was trying to take the kata course and get the certificate, and then I got this email. So sorry for the confusion, like basically. And then I never got a response. But in my mind, I'm like, I should be charging you guys to be able to look at me teach class. Like
watching my class. Oh, people pay to see me teach. All right.
I'm jokingly saying that.
Oh no, he's not. People, he's not.
I'm not. So I also was getting a lot of spam emails from their automated email saying I initiated the test, and then you've completed the test, and here's your certificate. Like, but all of it is really the code is jumbled, so it was like all these special characters in the email. So again, execution, someone didn't test the flow and the notification system properly. Yeah. Overall, I would say it was a waste of time, basically. So,
but if you live in a rural area that doesn't have kata,
10%, man.
This is one way to get around it. That's all I would say. All right.
I mean, it does. I'm going to be honest, right? They linked the Kodokan video. I didn't watch it because I already watched it a billion times when I had to teach myself. Mm-hmm. So I just took the quiz without watching the video. So when I said 10%. I'm assuming I watched the video once and then just didn't study it, because they have two videos, right? If I remember correctly, let me double check real quick. Yeah, I don't think they make you watch a long one. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Because there's the one where they show it, and then there's one where they break it down. The whole video is like an hour long or something like that, right? Yeah. So I don't think they showed the breakdown video. So I don't know how anyone learning this would be able to learn all those intricate details. But yeah, just learn it, just study it and learn it yourself. But I guess they really need to. It doesn't solve the problem of not having a sensei that knows and can teach kata. If you do have one, then just study yourself and then have your sensei evaluate it. But otherwise, they have to upload the videos and get it evaluated. Mm-hmm. The USJF, this is like a perfect opportunity for USJF to make some money out here is, hey, pay me money to evaluate your kata, basically.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I'm paying the master's teacher cert. I'm assuming costs money, right? Like you have to pay for the coaching cert, teacher cert. Mm-hmm. And they said that I have to upload a video of me teaching class. Like, so why can't they say, hey, I'll take your money and evaluate your kata? Like,
yeah, because the class is going to be much longer than the kata is going to be. So, you're going to watch an entire hour and a half, 2 hour class.
Yeah, and also everyone has different ways of teaching, you know. But I guess for them, they're like, oh, it has to be my way of teaching or our way of teaching. You know, unless you're like, hi, this is Anthony. I'm teaching class. Here's me hitting kids, you know, like.
No. Here's my kendo stick, everyone. Watch how make the kids run. Run!
Make sure when you hit them with this part because it hurts the most.
Or you get that giant fan that just makes a lot of noise so it scares the kids.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's the online content.
All right. So one thing we wanted to talk about, because we've been talking a lot about like how we grow in Dojo and our celebration of us being around for 100 episodes, is this is something that comes up a lot when people sign up for our dojo, sign up for a lot of dojos, is federation membership. And our excuse and most clubs' excuses is that it's for insurance. Now, a lot of dojos are part of a community center. They're not their own entities. They're not their own business. Usually they're covered by the insurance of the community they're part of or the cultural institute that they're part of.
Yep.
So like us, before we became our own nonprofit, we were blanketed with the community center's insurance. And to help that, we made sure that everyone that was part of the member of our dojo was either members USA JUDO, USJF, or USA or USJA to be covered by their insurance. So that way, like you can use your own insurance, their insurance, and if you ever have to, go to the community center. And I know we get a lot of people argue about like, oh, well, I have my own insurance. Why do I have to join the federation? Because just so you're covered, we're covered. We know that you're covered. Okay.
Yeah. How do I say this? I think for the longest time we avoided the talk about insurance because a combination of two things. One, it's boring as hell. Yeah. Two, it's complicated as hell. And did I say two things? I'm like not feeling very well. Did I say two things?
You said two things. There are two. Maybe there's a third.
There's a third. There was a third. I'm trying to remember what it was. It's confusing. It's boring. And I know what the third was. I didn't know jack shit about it. Like when I say jack shit, I meant like I kind of know what's going on, but I don't think I knew enough to talk about it. Basically,
yeah.
Which is why we don't talk about a lot of topics, but a lot of other YouTubers make videos about it. But
yeah, so we just act like we know about it and we totally sound cool. But since in the last new year, new year and stuff, we became our own entity now. We are our own nonprofit. And since we became our own nonprofit, we had to get our own insurance for our own dojo. So no longer is it just that, we have to get the USJA, USJF, all those places for your own insurance. We now have an insurance program for ourselves to cover us as our own blanket. And we've had to use because we've seen things happen. And sadly, some things have happened to people that we know. And like even to myself at Winter Nationals, where having insurance became very important, It's not just, nothing will happen, I'll be fine. Or someone says, I have no insurance, I'll be fine. No, you need this to protect yourself and protect your dojo.
Yeah. So what changed over the last, I'm going to say like 8 months, 6 months, was that I got too familiar with insurance. I got very familiar with insurance. It all started with the three alliances, the three judo alliances in America having a breakup, and one of the big topics surrounding the breakup was about insurance, right? Everything was about like supposedly one of the arguments was like, well, insurance costs is going up, and then they're saying some people aren't paying for it, blah blah whatever. And then another part was what's going to happen now about hosting events. I'm just wondering, how come they had that agreement before, and now because the agreement ended, they're not? What changed? What changed about insurance? Because I'm assuming all three of them had different insurance anyway. Mm-hmm. But I was able to comb through all the emails that was released. Not going to go into it, but if you listen to past episode, you know what we're talking about. And then some of the meeting minutes that I found for USJF and USJA. So what they talked about in the board meetings, and piece together a certain picture. But basically, the insurance companies basically had to pay an extra amount of money to cover the other organization. Basically, that's a long story short without going into it, right?
Yeah. So
now the question is, how much more would that be? And then I think, I can't remember who it was, but it's either JF or JA where they talked about, it's around like $5 more per person in a tournament, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it adds up when you have like 500 people.
Yeah, when you at a normal NOC or Southern California tournament, you easily have 400 to 500, no problem.
Yeah, so for a while they were passing that cost onto the. In some tournaments, we're passing the cost onto the participant, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you're not, you've probably seen this, and if you've been competing, It's like, if you're not a USA Judo member, then you have to pay this price. And it's like $10, $15 more or something like that.
Yeah.
So I looked into that, and that's what I found out. So I was like, what's going to happen to our dojo? Like, we were hosting the in-house tournament, and
and we were getting USJA sanctioning each time.
We were getting USJA sanctioning each time. I'm trying to not step on toes, because like it's going to make one of the three organizations look really bad, and rightfully so, is their own fault. But let's just say two of the organizations have backup plans to cover events. All right, so two of them have it. One of them is very unclear, which made sense to me in the meeting minutes. One of the Yudanshikai, or smaller organizations, asked for clarification of the insurance coverage, like the whatever it is called. My brain's not working today. The summary of the insurance, what it covers, and the terms, right? The policy, the copy of the policy. That's what it's called. Okay. And they just got ignored. So I'm in my head, I'm like, that totally makes sense, because they don't have it. It doesn't cover it. It does not cover it.
It's like, what'd you ask for? What's that over there? They're gone already. So
because the policy the policy is ambiguous, that's the one that they shared, and they're looking for an updated one. And I'm assuming because the updated one doesn't show that it has a option to cover these other events, that they just kind of ignored them to not give them the insurance policy. Then that's basically it. So I was like, we got to be very careful, because our dojo accepts all three organizations.
Yes.
So if we have practice, not even just events, like if we have practice and someone from this one organization gets hurt, then all the other ones, it's not going to cover the whole thing, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even with that, and people think that, like, the tournament we went to today, okay, the Taishi tournament, they normally were a USJF tournament, USJA, USA Judo West, when they're all three together and stuff, part of the Naka Yudanshikai. This tournament was fully USA Judo, and it said in their paperwork, or in their application, you must be a USA Judo member. If you are not a USA Judo member, you must buy a day pass or a week pass or a month pass. But you have to do that to join. You can no longer just be, we're going to cover with the extra insurance, or we're going to pay the extra money. It's not like they're passing the cost off to you. They kind of are, with making forcing you to do it. But it's either
they were right. So that's the next part, right? But before we get into the next part, we got talk about this one thing, right? I heard this first from our late sensei Gary. Basically, as a dojo that accepts all three, this would be the case for a tournament that accepts all three too, I assume. If, let's say, me, you, and Philippe were training, right? Philippe gets hurt by Peter, and then Peter decides to sue the school or sue Philippe, but I didn't have a judo organization membership. Yeah. Then technically the insurance will not cover it.
Yeah.
Because everyone on the mat has to have a judo organization membership, was what I was told by Sensei Gary. So that's how I put another piece of the puzzle, was putting this together. And let's jump forward back to what you said about the tournament. USA Judo was passing in costs, and they could have kept doing that, which is what they did for a few months, right? They just
when the split up first happened, that's what they were first doing. Yeah.
So then USA Judo basically said, "All right, we're not doing that anymore. Everyone has to have USA Judo membership. We're offering discounts for first-time members, and kids get a discount, and we're also offering a one-time $15." Was it $15 day membership?
Something like that, yeah.
For just one tournament, but you can only do it once, ever. So they're obviously trying to kill off the other two governing bodies. And I don't know about the rest of the country, but in the Southern California area, most of the tournaments have gone towards USA Judo only tournaments now.
Yeah.
So rightfully so, I wouldn't say rightfully so, but understandably so, the other two organizations would be upset. So now they have to figure out a way to build their own tournaments because they lost a few. And also they have to provide values to their members in other ways. And also in their own events, they have to make sure they cover all three memberships, which USJA found a way to do. Like, I don't know if we talked about it, but
no, we haven't talked about that yet. No.
Yeah, so USJA found a way to do that. Probably having to pay a lot of money to an insurance company to cover it, but but now they basically have to find another way to convince people. Why should I, if I'm a competitor, why should I join anything but USA Judo then? All the tournaments at USA Judo now. But that's a different topic. Let's continue down the insurance, right?
Yeah.
So this all happened when we became our own nonprofit, where we had some, how do we word this? We had some things we had to iron out with a lawyer, basically. And I've been saying this for a while, but I'm not a lawyer, right? But we were basically heavily underinsured. As far as he could tell, the lawyer, was that the national governing body membership insurance only covers stuff that happens on the mats. So if someone slips in a locker room or someone falls in a parking lot and sues you, it does not cover that. It's only
it was not that wouldn't be covered then, but that would be covered because you're part of our community center, a community member, you'll be under that insurance.
Yeah, so it had to be that insurance. Yeah, basically.
It had to be that insurance.
But a lot of people don't know that, because if you go to I think if you go to YMCA or something and you host a club, they make you pay. Some of them make you pay into like the membership, the insurance, which is what our Japanese cultural community center does. They make you pay into it. We didn't do that, so we had to carry our own insurance.
Yeah.
So if you have your own club or whatever, don't just be like, oh, I have that insurance. So make sure you read the details and make sure you cover it. If you're teaching out of a high school or something, they probably make you use the high school's insurance. But these are all things that you have to consider, like, and cover. Don't just think, oh, I have insurance already. Like, that's different. Which leads to another point. I don't want to say the lying, but when dojos say, oh, it's for insurance, you need this thing for insurance. And well, I have insurance. What they mean is liability insurance, not health insurance. Yes, there's a health insurance component, but they're talking about you're basically paying for our liability insurance in case someone decides to sue us, because everyone on the mat has to have it. So that's the insurance they're talking about. They're not talking about health insurance, but they are saying insurance. So in your head's like, oh, I get something out of it, and which you do, which is the useless health insurance I got. That took me a year to get my payment for. But that health insurance is basically a high deductible insurance for those who are not in the US and have free healthcare. It basically means you have to pay, a deductible means you have to pay out of pocket out to a certain amount before the insurance will start paying out. And that amount resets every calendar year. So for example, I got hurt like late in the year for my knee, and I had to wait until January to get my knee surgery because I don't want to get the surgery in December, and then the deductible resets and I pay another $2,500. They had the deductible, basically. It would have been $5,000 instead of $2,500. A lot more complicated things I can talk about that, but that's the gist of it. So the insurance that the national governing body, the health insurance that the national governing body provides is a high deductible insurance. Plus, if you have your own health insurance, it acts as a secondary insurance, which means your primary insurance, they will not pay out until your primary insurance stops paying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to go through your primary insurance first, make sure that that's paid. And then when everything, because you went through it and I'm actually going through it right now, is that they don't want you sending everything like piece by piece to them. They want you to get everything done, everything finished. And then when you got everything, all the paperwork together and you've paid everything and they've paid everything, then you send it to them to hopefully get reimbursed to a certain amount.
Yeah. So when we talk about the lack of growth in judo, like nobody ever talks about the healthcare infrastructure in America. They're always like, oh, it's because it's not in schools. It's like, yeah, maybe it has something to do with wage gap and
hey, wrestling's in schools and wrestling's gone down in society. Okay.
Yeah. But as a kid, you get covered under your parents' insurance and all that kind of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. You don't see adult wrestlers. So yeah, that's that part of the insurance. And what we ultimately had to do was get our own insurance. And thanks to Jonah from 510 Judo for suggesting karateinsurance.com to me. Not sponsored, by the way. But
they want to. They can. They want to give us a free month or something. We'll talk about them all day.
We got their insurance policy, which basically covers us for more stuff. But every time we host an event now, we also have to pay a certain amount of money per
that's
head.
Something, again, because we're our own independent entity now. So yeah, now we got coverage for our practices, for classes, and for people. But they don't think about like, well, when you guys have your tournaments or your scrimmages with our dojos, well, that's an event now technically, and we have to get a separate insurance for that. Which is we're not, and this is again because we want to do these scrimmages with these other dojos with Sawtell and with Sawtell and Gold's Judo. We're not making them pay that extra to do it. It's a bit of money. It's not like killing us, but it's a bit of money.
Yeah, and this is all another reason I added to this was other than the lawyer mentioning that we're underinsured, it was the fact that I think we talked about it. One of our members got seriously injured in the Winter Nationals last year, and that really was a big hit to us. Like not just emotionally, but also we're like, okay, we need to really cover our bases, like on what kind of risks we're taking. And I mean, it can happen to anyone, but it's like, and it's not very likely, but it's still like when it's a matter of when it happens to a lot and where. So, yeah, you have to just be very careful of it because when you're overinsured, at least you have more money to give to the person who gets injured at the very least, like more avenue. And that's one of the reasons why we're raising our membership fees this year is to cover the insurance costs that's happening. Mm-hmm. And so that insurance, complicated stuff, but make sure you guys get your own dojo insurance. And if you don't, just double check your existing policy and see what it covers. And if you have no idea what the hell you're looking at, I'm lucky that I kind of know what I'm looking at. And then for parts that I'm not familiar with, I have friends I can ask for it about. But if you run your own dojo, your own program, make sure you look up this kind of stuff and ask someone if you don't know, and factor that cost in. Not all insurance is equal, basically.
Yeah, just like a car insurance is.
Yeah.
Same thing. But this is something that you need to have. And I know, again, I'm going to go back to this about people always saying, oh, when you tell them like, oh, well, this is for insurance purposes. They're like, well, I have my own insurance. Why do I have to join the federation and stuff? Like, this is why, this is not just covering you. It's covering your partner. It's covering your dojo. It's covering the mat area. It's not just if you get hurt. It's about what happens to the community center, what happens to the tournament, So it's just one of the things where it's not just about you. When someone says, oh, you have to join the federations.
I just kind of wish, how do you say this? I kind of wish there was a way to factor the price into the membership fee. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's kind of annoying where you're like, okay, you gotta sign up for this and pay for this, then you gotta sign up for this and pay for this, and then you gotta sign up for this and pay for this. Mm-hmm. And I think it's easier to stomach the cost if you say, well, to join us, it's $200 a month, right? Rather than as to say, it's only $50 a month, but to join the community center is $20 a year. And then you also have to join this national governing body, which is $70 a year. Like, it's just, I don't know. I think in marketing class, I forgot, it's not price sensitivity, just another word for it, but people just mentally don't like fees, if you know what I'm talking about.
Well, especially when you see the website and it says $50 for auto pay, $60 month to month. Like, oh, that sounds really cheap. And then you come to the dojo and you didn't read the fine print. Yeah. It's like, I got to buy a gi. How much is a gi? How much is insurance? I got to join the community center now. And you got to tell people, the first month is big of an investment. You know, it's a little expensive, but after that, it's really cheap. It's only $50 a month after that. Till next year, you have to do all that over again.
If there's a way for the dojo to work with the governing body of choice to simplify the paperwork so that when they sign up for the dojo, they also sign up for the governing body. This will never happen, by the way. What I'm saying is, like, if you know how this kind of stuff works, it will never happen. But if there's a way for that to happen, it'll be great, you know? So, like, if I could sign up for someone, but yeah, that's, I think that basically covers insurance. But if you guys have any questions about insurance, usually I would not offer this because, again, I'm not an expert at it. But if you have any questions about the health insurance or liability insurance or anything, just leave a comment or send me a message on Instagram. I'll try to answer it because I did do a lot of reading on this because of all the events leading up to it, like I said, and the unfortunate event that we talked about. So there's multiple things happening that caused me to do that much of a deep dive. And I'm only agreeing to do this because of the unwillingness of the other entities to be transparent about it. So if they were they made that information more easily accessible and understandable, then I wouldn't offer to do this, basically. So not that I think anyone's going to message me anyway. So
yeah, no message us about that anyways. You offered to help them out with website. They didn't message you.
So the funny thing is that one positive, that was like one of the worst performing episodes, by the way, the website thing.
Yeah. Oh, don't trust me. This will be the next one. Because this is a boring, I understand. This is a boring episode, but we just feel this is information people need to know.
It's funny because I'm very important stuff. But the funny thing is the website episode was so so important, so informative, but no one really cares because one, most of you guys don't own a dojo. And I think most people that do own a dojo probably still think nobody's joining your dojo because IJF banned leg grabs. Not because of your website from the 1990s.
Or your bad Instagram or
yeah.
Oh, what do you mean I don't need a website? I have a Facebook, dude. Unless they're 40 and over, they're not going to your Facebook. I'm sorry. All right. And guess what? They're getting rid of Twitter next. So not Twitter, getting rid of TikTok next. All right.
So
if you had a TikTok, get rid of it now.
But the funny thing is one of the parents listened to our podcast and he does tech stuff too, but a 3D modeling, I think. Okay. Hi, if you're still listening after all these episodes.
Hi.
But he was like, oh, I listened to that episode. It's very informative. Like, I didn't know how bad the judo websites are. And a lot of stuff you said makes sense. I'm like, yeah, thank you. I just wish I wasn't getting this from you. Like,
this is one of those Anthony moments where you're just screaming into the wind and no one's listening to him. And I'm there just behind and be like, it's okay, Anthony. It's okay. It's all right.
Well, this, how do I say this? Not to scream into the void, but this whole insurance saga, I did kind of bring it up back in 2018. Like I did bring it up, but it wasn't until I guess like the governing body kind of highlighted the issue that we had started looking into it.
Well, I think personally back in the day, back in the day now, when it was the three federations, you kind of felt like you're like, okay, well, I'm blanketed by three federations, you know, like one doesn't help, the other one can't.
Yeah, I'm just like, how
that way.
See, for me, it was like something doesn't make sense. Like, how does that work? So I just started looking deeper into it. Just like that kata related thing. I'm not going to say what it is. That kata related thing I talked about. You're like, just let it go. I'm like, I'm like, no, I want to know why it was said that way. Why it was like that. Like, it's for my own knowledge, you know? So, okay. That's all. All
right. So this is kind of a short episode today then. This week.
Yeah, we managed to keep the boring stuff short.
We might have, if people will listen to the entire, like, was it gonna be like 40-minute episode? Why not? Yeah. Just the boring stuff. All right. So I'm sorry you guys had to listen to that one, but it's very important. We felt we had to get it out to people, our experience, and like I said, we want to help out other dojos, help and grow judo. And this is something that's important. This ain't the fancy, sexy stuff right now. All right. This is the nitty gritty. Got to get the business done. All right. So,
just another thing.
Yeah.
Please get all your instructors background checked. Like, seriously,
that's a
yeah. You have to do that.
We might have to do a small episode on that one too. Maybe. All right. Make sure.
Please do that.
Look up your instructors. Make sure they have their safe sport and heads up done. And because if they do that, most likely have a background check also, which they should be safe. All right. Just watch out for people out there. Okay. Make dojo life.
Yeah. I mean, I do a pretty regular check on the safe sport database. So, and sometimes I'm surprised. I told you before, I'm surprised I see names of people I recognize, basically. Mm-hmm. But it's, what do you say? The list is actually much smaller than I expected it to be. So, which is a good thing.
I will say this. I think in judo, we do a very good job with that. And we talked about this before with instructors and stuff, but I think
it totally has nothing to do with there's a lack of instructors.
but I think with how strict we are about instructors and getting these things, I think that's why it makes us a little bit more, like, not fully, I'm not gonna say we're 100% out there, but more safer than other McDojos.
Yeah. Right.
So with that, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. You can follow me at the GR8_Juan on Instagram. You follow Anthony Throws on Instagram. You follow the website, our website. We don't have a website yet. We may get a website soon. Who knows?
When I get less sick.
We're talking about it. Same thing with the Patreon. We may still get the Patreon, so we're not sure. Yeah. But it's at the Tatami Talk on Instagram. You want to send us anything, messages, things you want to talk about, things you want us to go over and talk and look at, you can hit us up at tatamitalk@gmail.com, as well as find us at Tatami Talk at YouTube. Watch the shorts, watch alongs, support us. Please smash that like, subscribe button also. All right, shit that they all say.
Yeah. It went on too long, so I just zoned out for a second.
All right. My bad. Anthony's sick. He's dying.
Yeah.
And with that, don't forget to
get a background check and check your insurance policy. Yeah. And slap them in.